Outside the Book continues. We're talking now with Richard Wall. And the name of the book that he's here talking about is Mr. Owita's Guide to Gardening, How I Learned the Unexpected Joy of a Green Thumb and an Open Heart. But it's written by Carol Wall. So maybe we should call this next interview segment a true love story. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
This is dedicated to your late wife.
Yes. Well, she wrote this book. She signed her publishing contract in 2011, and the 3 years between the signing of the contract and the publication of the book in 2014, she was really living a dream few writers get to realize. She had a superstar agent, she had a rock star editor, she got a big advance, and she was in People magazine, New York Times Book Review, Oprah.com. But in 2012, her breast cancer metastasized and came back for the third time. And she was never able to go out and promote the book. So she was in the hospital on publication day in March 2014. She died in December 2014. And so now it's me.
And you've taken it upon yourself. How many states did you tell me you've been to book festivals?
I think we
in?
counted the other day, not just book festivals, but I do a lot of, because of the subject matter of the book, I do a lot of church groups, I do a lot of civic clubs, fundraisers, do a lot of speaking about her and the book festivals too. But we figured the other day, I think since July, 75 events in 16 states, and got a heavy schedule for the rest of 2016 and into 2017 also.
So this story, Mr. Owita's Guide to Gardening, it's not a gardening book necessarily.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I say that all the time too, but I was just at the State Botanical Garden of Georgia. I did the Garden Club awards luncheon in Frankfurt. I did a garden club in Charleston, and all those people tell me it is about gardening. So,
but I guess what I'm getting at, there's a whole lot more to this story
absolutely.
Than just the soil and the roots.
Yes, it's a story of her friendship with Giles Owita, a gardener from Kenya, who not only transformed our garden and our yard, which was in sad state of disrepair, but he transformed her life and transformed the way she looks at things. And so I spend a lot of time talking about the enduring messages of the book and what makes it resonate so widely and deeply.
When we talk about the enduring message, your wife was a writer, or she was just inspired by her relationship with...
She was a writer. She was a longtime writer, and she wrote, she was a high school English teacher, but she always wanted to write a book like this, and she sold articles. She referred to her early years as her pretend writing career in the 80s and the 90s, but she sold 12 Southern journals to Southern Living, the article that's on the inside back page that Rick Bragg writes now. She sold 12 of those, and she sold articles to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. She had 2 novels that were agented but not sold. But then in 2002, she met Giles Owita, and she decided to start writing this book.
And it changed her life.
Yes, it did.
It changed her life. So now that your wife is gone, and you're out there, letting people know about this beautiful gift that she left to us, what happens then when you come to the point where everybody's read it or nobody wants to read it anymore? Are there plans to go one step further, perhaps with you at the helm?
Maybe. And she does have 2 finished novels that are on the shelf. People have encouraged me to tell my story, which is sort of unusual because we have 3 kids, and all of us are marketing this book without the author, which is sort of an unusual story. So that's sort of the story behind the story. Our son is a documentary filmmaker, our youngest, and he's making a documentary about that part of the story. So there are lots of side stories here, but I think that this book has a lot of legs. It has, even though when you get to the end of the story, which in time is 2008, you will not be surprised that the person who is telling you the story, Carol Wall, dies several years later because she writes a lot about her cancer. But that being said, it's not a book about cancer and it's not a book about dying. It is a book about living, and the lessons that he teaches her and that she teaches us are lessons for living. And that's what's keeping me out here.
That was my next question, is just that's got to be the inspiration for you to
Well,
continue.
it is. And the response that we get everywhere we go is when you talk about what happens when everybody reads it, that's where we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to that tipping point, like the Yaya Sisterhood and books like that have that sort of arc that they just go, and then you have a feature film. And so that's what we're trying to do. And we got some work to do before we do that, but it's a lot of fun doing it.
And it's all in the name of your late wife.
It is, that's right.
Would she be proud?
I think so. Yeah, she told one of the last things she said, and Phil, the youngest, who's the documentary filmmaker, was her favorite by far. All of us
Even
know
though
that.
moms don't have favorites.
Oh, yes, they do, too. I mean, if you took the 3 kids and me, it's not even close. She would pick him. She told him in July or August, and she was really getting sick then. We called hospice in August. And she told him, you take care of our book. So that's what we're doing.
Thank you for sharing that
Okay.
beautiful, poignant story. We've been talking with Richard Wall about the book, Mr. Owita's Guide to Gardening, How I Learned the Unexpected Joy of a Green Thumb and an Open Heart, by his late wife, Carol Wall.